Alright, Chuck. Time for a quick little update. Yes, there's stuff I've sort of accumulated over the month that I do need to talk about still on video. But I'm just going to sort of put that off even more as I start to talk about what I sort of did over the weekend. It's a little bit of a nice sort of spur of the moment kind of thing. I just feel like I want to talk a bit more about the thing that happened rather than just the robots that I got from it. So, on Sunday it was the Herne Bay Sci-Fi by the Sea sort of convention, cleverly named the sequel. I hadn't been to it before. I don't know if last year was the first year it was on or whether the year before was the first year. I'm not sure, I can't quite remember. But I went along as a bit of a sort of spur of the moment Father's Day thing with my dad. I do have a sort of history of going to these odd little local conventions with my dad, so it was just a nice thing to do for Father's Day. And it was just so much better than I thought it was going to be. I was not expecting it to A, be outside, B, be really, really big, C, be full of as many sort of different interesting things to see as there was, and D, or part 4, there to be actually anything worth buying. So I think it's definitely the sort of thing I'll try and get to next year as well, because it was just a pretty good day, and yeah, I'm going to talk about it more now. First off, I did sort of get there wondering, oh, when I run into anyone from the YouTubes around, because I know that there are some local people who will probably be there, and exactly the person who I thought, oh, will I run into him? I ran into him first. I only went and saw Matt Norris and Mr. John at the same time, had a hello, saw them. You might have seen Matt's little video that he put up of us meeting, and that was just really nice. It's just nice to see people who've, I mean, I've met John before, but it's good to see people off the screen and actually have some proof that they exist in the real world. But not only them, as I went around, saw a few other people actually who recognised me and are probably watching this right now, and I was just like, wow, okay, it's never happened to me before. And I imagine that if I had gone to AA this year, or if I would be going to AA this year, because I can't afford it, then it would be sort of that, but on a bigger scale, because I'd have loads more people to recognise, but also there'd be loads more people recognising me, and I don't know, it was pretty cool, you know, to see a handful of people who'd say, you know, hello, and I was like, oh, right, nice to meet you, all that sort of thing. But, yeah, wow, I mean, I can only imagine now what AA is like and how good that must be to get all the YouTube people together. And it does sort of make me a bit sad that I'm not going once again. But whatever. So there was that sort of side of the convention, which was, I don't know, maybe the best side, perhaps. It did certainly add a lot to it. It just made it feel like, yeah, this is a nice thing, actually meeting people there rather than just going around somewhere and obviously not seeing anyone that you might know or have seen through a screen before or anything like that, and just wander around and go home and that'd be that. Yeah, it just added something to it. Really good. And then there was all the sort of other stuff going on as well. They had all these cars there, which I'm sure I've seen a couple of before. I went to a convention when I was like really little, and I'm sure they had that Batmobile and Del Boy's car there before. But those were there, along with a Bumblebee Camaro, which was all tricked out with lights and the proper interior, and that was quite nice, and I took some pictures of that, and that was quite cool. And then there was loads and loads of cosplayers around, and I was not expecting that at all. For a local convention, to see so many people in costume wandering around. I mean, I saw a Predator, there was a Batman, there's so many, Iron Man, C-3PO, which was really good. I couldn't believe the amount of people in costume that were there, and I just thought, surely there can't be that many just from around here. They've got to have travelled in from all over the place. If you watch Matt's video of his coverage of the event, you'll see some more, because he found a few that I missed somehow. I don't know how I must have missed Hellboy and Optimus walking around, but those were there as well. It was just really interesting, and everywhere you went there was like, oh, there's something interesting. Oh, look, there's a T-Rex walking by. It's just a good day out. And yeah, there were some celebrities there. People from Doctor Who and Red Dwarf, and lots of people I'd never heard of, I have to say. But I didn't even bother trying to go and see them. I mean, Paul McGann might have been quite cool to meet, get an autograph of him. But the queues were a mile long, and I saw Colin Baker anyway, because he was getting escorted to a Portaloo. Don't see that every day. But yeah, what did I buy? Not really a lot. The 2 days before I had been travelling and went down to see my friends from uni for a bit of a birthday night out shenanigans type thing, so I didn't really have a lot of money to chuck around. But I did get a Nitro Bumblebee from Dark of the Moon. This is one bot which I've sort of been umming and ahhing about as to whether to get online, because of course the new movie stuff's rolled around and just maybe want older movie stuff that is arguably better. And when I saw this just sat there in the store, I thought, boom, picking that up. He was all packaged and everything, but I've got to point this out as the first thing, so that everything I say afterwards, you can sort of take that in mind and sort of not really pay attention to it. It's a qualifier for the opinions I'm about to express about this figure. Mine has 2 right arms. The whole, yes, it's not just a hand or anything. Right up to the shoulder. This arm here is the same as this one here. Look at the hand. This is wrong. Bad quality control, and I'd say it would really put me off this figure, but it doesn't, because this has to be such an underrated bot. It is really good because it does everything differently to every other movie Bumblebee you have seen. It ends up feeling a bit more accurate because his legs are done properly. You haven't got the massive hole down his shins and the weird foldy uppy Madoo that every other one does. It's all different. The wheel's actually in his foot like it should be. It just looks right, it looks good, and everything else looks good. I really like the way his chest is made these really big bits of the car, and it all tabs in. It's proper solid. There's no just bits flapping about on hinges that you sort of have to correct every time you touch it, because one of them will go up and one of them will stay there. It all tabs in, even the stuff on his back. It's pretty kibble heavy, yeah, but there's all locking points for it. It's not just like the regular Dark of the Moon where you just fold it up and the pressure of the hinge is what you pray to keep it there. It locks in, nice little tabs. There's even one behind his head for this stupid flap. It works. It's nice. And you've got the bonus of him turning into a car that's got rocket engines on it and just looks a bit different and more interesting. I recommend this one over the other ones. He's a little bit hindered here and there with his posability. He's got gorilla arms. I couldn't care because the sculpting on the arms is so much more accurate than everything else we've had. It's just a nice Bumblebee. It's like one they've actually properly put some effort into and really done nicely. And they've made him a fun toy as well because it's not just a regular car. Yeah, it's just a good Bumblebee. It just feels like he does a lot of stuff better. And yeah, I'm happy, even if mine has got wrong arms. Only thing that really lets him down, apart from maybe having neutered light piping, is the mech weapon. Oh, this is the worst one I've got. Honestly, it's like, yeah, it's just bad. Like that, it's meant to be like an engine block, but it's so massive it just looks completely stupid if you stick it on the bonnet of the car. Then, it's supposed to be a gun, but you literally can't get it to straighten out properly. It's like that's as far as it'll go. The gears just need to be meshed together a bit better. I don't know, it's just doesn't work. Chuck that in a box, forget about it forever. So it's pretty good that Bumblebee by himself is just good enough that you don't need some weapon to go with him to make him a bit more interesting. He's just a good figure that actually I think ends up being, yeah, more accurate than some of the others that Dark of the Moon churned out. Just because it sort of looks like, well, from my perspective anyway, some of the bits that occur with his chest and the door wings and the way that the stuff comes together to make the robot mode actually looks like vaguely how it does in a couple of scenes of the film itself. So it just looks like they paid a bit more attention and, yeah, definitely put a bit more effort into making this just a good Bumblebee rather than just do more Bumblebees. It should sit atop the others, and it certainly feels like no one gave this a second thought at all. Just, oh, it's another Bumblebee, but it happened to have rocket engines on the back. Pass. No. The ones you should be passing on are the regular, normal Camaro ones. You should buy the one with rocket engines sticking out the back. And then, after getting him, I wandered over to a stall which had a lovely plethora of G1 figures, which were all hideously expensive, and I was literally stood there trawling through this box. I'm sure the guy at the stall could see the faces I was making as I was going, oh. I mean, 40 quid for a swoop. It was loose. I don't even know if it had everything with it. 40 quid for a swoop in a plastic bag. What? And then like 35 quid for a side swipe that was all scratched and mucked up. No thank you. So I was pretty happy to find, in amongst all that ludicrously extortionate stuff, something which was a bit of a bargain. A fiver, got me a Motormaster. Yes, it's the Motormaster. I'm pretty happy with him. Has it got any accessories? I don't really care because I don't want to build a Menasor, so I don't need all of those bits. And when you've got G1 figures that have, you know, swords and guns that have nowhere to go on the vehicle mode, I'd rather they just weren't there, because I like G1 because they're nice, simple, blocky figures that are just fun to switch about, and I don't want to worry about accessories and guns. I'd just rather we didn't have any. So a fiver for Motormaster was pretty darn good. His stickers are in pretty good nick. I mean, they're a little bit wonky on the whole, but they're all there. They're still shiny. They're not really peeling. They're, I don't know, a little bit sort of dirty here and there, but overall he's pretty good. And his legs are so, oh Christ, they're tight to move. I can tell he's never been made into a Menasor, so something pretty good there, I suppose. So those are the couple of things which I came away with from Sci-Fi by the Sea. I know that as I saw John and Matt there, they showed me a couple of bits that they'd got. It just looked like John had been around one of his regular boot fairs, had a bag with some loose figures in. So yeah, there was some Transformer stuff to be had around and about, stuff chucked in loose boxes and all that, but there wasn't a lot, and I would have expected more considering the film coming out and all that. Literally all there was that I saw, really, every stall, pretty much every stall, had 90s Star Wars figures, and that was like it. Everywhere was 90s Star Wars figures, and it was like, well, if I had any interest in these, then that would be pretty cool. But no, I mean, I can't understand how anywhere has still got an overstock of those to sell when it is like 15 years down the road now. Seriously, could they have ordered in that many? They still haven't shifted them? My God. So, I'm happy with my Motormaster and my Nitro Bumblebee, and it was all a good day out, and yes, very good, and sort of inspires me to sort of want to be able to do this sort of stuff a bit more often. Actually, it's been a very long time since I've been to a convention, and that was just, it just ticked all the right boxes. It wasn't too big, wasn't too mental, it was just a good walk around, picking up some cool stuff, seeing some cool people, seeing some cool things. That's your lot. I'll be back soon, I suppose, with some proper twits, and I'll have some construct bots to wave in your face, I imagine. See you later!